Hello, everyone. Welcome to Church with Jess. That's me. It is volume 10. 10. That's a milestone. Wow. Thank you so much for tuning in all of these weeks and staying with me and listening to the message and the medicine. It's for everyone, everyone who is open to receive it. I hope you are getting everything that you need out of this. So this week we are back to the Russian Gypsy fortune-telling cards. This is probably one of my favorite decks. I feel like it's just a really thorough reading. To just help you gain clarity on whatever questions you might have for the universe, for the divine, for the source, for God, for whatever it is that you believe in. So my question personally this week for the Big 10, episode 10, was what do we need to do as a people collectively? What do we need to do to break free of the chains of society, to get back to our most authentic self, to who we really are? How do we get back to that? Because somewhere along the way, from the time our souls were born into this world, we got lost. And now we're here. And I'm just asking how we get back to that, how we get back to who we're meant to be. In a world, we allow ourselves to be defined. In this world, we allow ourselves to be defined by what other people are doing or thinking, our friends, family, celebrities. In doing that, we lose sight of who we really are and who we were meant to be. We're so eager to label and classify ourselves and fit ourselves in whatever box we think that others will accept us most in. You've heard people say, think outside the box. Well, I always say that there is no box. The box is an illusion created by society that is obsessed with labels and social classes. When you get rid of the box, you start to see what really matters. Those are my thoughts on the box and society. So, we have to break down those walls that are restraining us. And I just want to know how we can do that. So, this is the deck where we match pictures, and that'll give us an image, and then we will read the notes in the book about what the image stands for, represents, and then I will give my notes on the image. So, the first image that we matched was fire. I never know where to hold the camera so that it shows fire. Fire in position 4. So, let's see what the book has to say about that. So the period of influence is short to middle. So, going to be happening soon, within like a couple weeks, or maybe within like 3 to 6 months. Fire is the symbol for passion. Fire, passion. Our first reaction to fire is that it is a destructive force. Once a fire takes hold, it's difficult to stop or contain until it burns itself out. So it is with people's passion. Once passion is ignited, it is difficult to stop. Even though unexpected fire can cause a lot of damage, fire was one of humankind's first and greatest discoveries. The ability to control fire and use it in constructive ways enabled humans to leave the Stone Age. So it is with passion. Passion has inspired some of the best works of art, literature, music, architecture, and engineering. Fire can also indicate flourishment, the flourishment of ideas or business ventures. It can also indicate the passion of the heart. The picture warns that passion will take hold of you. It's up to you to use it for positive results. So we match the image in position 4. So what that means is you will be warmed by love during difficult, cold days. This is the positive aspect of fire. In the same way that fire gives you warmth in the winter, so love can keep you warm during difficult times. The picture is unsettling in that it warns you of difficult times to come. Yet it is reassuring in that it says love will keep you warm during those times. There are always wars, depressions, recessions, and troubles that people are forced to endure, but love can make them tolerable and even memorable experiences. So I think obviously this is definitely a time where we're in one of those periods of, destruction, war, depression, recession, troubles. We're in a troubling time right now. And we just have to keep spreading the love. It's as simple as that, really. Love does endure. And, there's a lot of anger and aggression out there right now. And I think there's so many people who feel just stuck and trapped and don't know what to do with themselves and are freaking out. And there's all this information going around and, everybody's the expert and nobody really knows what's going on. And people are just going crazy and feeling like that and just feeling like the world's going crazy. I think out of fear comes a lot of anger and aggression, and those things just aren't going to solve anything. They're not going to allow us to see with a clear mind into our third eye and see what's inside for us and how we can create a better world for our future, our new future. So that will blind us, and we don't want to be blind. We want to have our eyes open, all of them, and it's just really important to spread the love around, make people feel loved, let people know that you're there for them or that things are going to be okay. Call somebody, call your friends and your family, check in on them. We've talked about this before. This can be a really trying time for some people. I was sitting here meditating today and I was just thinking how fortunate I am that I have a safe space to be in during this just unknown period of time. And I was thinking about how there are a lot of people that don't have that, who don't have a home to go to at all, who don't have a safe space to go to, who might be in real danger. And that's why it's so important to reach in and check in on people, because things can look one way from the outside, but it can be real different on the inside for the person that's going through it. So just check in on your friends and families, spread love, tell people that you love them, and hopefully we'll see a real positive shift in the world and in people's hearts and minds. Okay, moving on. The next match we got was the cat. Can you see that? It's upside down. Position 4, the cat. So the period of influence for cat is short. So again, short is like a couple weeks from now. Maybe now from a couple until a couple weeks from now. It's a symbol for hidden danger. So, the general meaning of the card. The cat was first domesticated in Egypt about 2,600 years ago. That is a long, long, long time ago. The ancient Egyptians believed cats were sacred. They worshipped a goddess named Bastet, whom they pictured with the body of a woman and the head of a cat. That's cool. Statue. If you haven't seen it, it's really neat. You should look it up. However, cats have not always been well liked. During the Dark Ages in Europe, many people were afraid of cats. They thought cats had magical powers and were the friends of witches. Well, they are, and they do. Yet, even though the cat has been domesticated for such a long time, it still maintains its wild characteristics and can strike out at any time. You notice that with cats, is they are very wild. When you just watch them like interacting and playing, it's really interesting. The cat picture represents someone who can be charming to you or can turn around and unexpectedly scratch you. Catty characteristics have been associated with female behavior. However, men can and do behave in the same fashion. Yeah, they do. I'm talking to you guys. We all need to not do that, though. So we have it in position 4, which says, whoops, I have the fan on and it's blowing right at me and blowing my pages around. You will unexpectedly be badly scratched. This usually refers to a verbal attack or a catty remark that someone makes to you. It's usually unprovoked by you and not deserved. The best way to act is not to get angry or upset, but simply to ask the person, why are you saying this? This puts the onus of justifying the remark on the person. Silence is also a good rebuttal to catty remarks. Don't give the person the pleasure of seeing you get irritated or disturbed. You should also be wise enough to avoid provoking a verbal attack. Refrain from boorish acts that irritate people, like dropping in uninvited. The Russians say, this is the Russian Gypsy deck, remember. The Russians say, an uninvited guest is worse than a Tartar. The Tartars were Mongolian invaders of Russia during the Middle Ages. If you behave boorishly, expect to be criticized. I think that kind of goes back to what I was talking about before. About how with all this, unsureness and anger and fear that's being spread around, it's just being invoked, and people are feeding into it. And with that, a lot of anger comes out of it. And maybe people say things that they might not really mean or they might otherwise not have said if they weren't feeling a lot of weight and pressure on them right now, and just not knowing what to do. Maybe that catty person is the media, the government, just all these different sources of information that are coming out that nobody really knows what they're supposed to believe, or what's really the truth. You really have to seek the truth out. You really do. For some reason, it always tends to get covered up somehow. So seek the truth, and don't be provoked by people like that. Don't allow yourself You know, if somebody reacts angrily towards you, don't allow yourself to retaliate. It's not worth spending that energy. Don't waste your hate, as Nako says. You guys got to check out the new Nako album. It is incredible. Nako and Medicine for the People, Take Your Power Back. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I just freaking love them. I love Nako. His music is amazing and inspiring and real medicine. Check it out. I cannot stop listening to the new album. It's so good. But anyways, yeah, don't waste your hate. It's just, we have to spread the love. So, and get that love back. Because remember, if you put out positive, you get positive back. Same goes for negative. So be careful where your energy's at, you know. Let's see. The next match is the ship. The ship. I love the ship because it can represent travel, and I love to travel. So, the ship. It is middle influence, so I'd say like 3 to 6 months. It represents finances and adventure. The ship is closely related to one's money situation. It speaks of riches and adventure. In the early days of exploration, ships set forth to discover new lands and bring back riches. The ship is similar to number 5 in numerology, which stands for adventure, travel, and experience. The picture encourages action of some sort. Okay, so we have it in position 1, which means you will receive an inheritance or a winning. In modern days, this can refer to any unexpected source of money. This is an opportune time to buy lottery tickets, gamble, or take financial chances. It must be stressed that you are not going to win something every time this picture comes up, only that your chances of winning are greater during this time. I guess if you play your cards right, so to speak. Likewise, the money doesn't only come from your planned action, but can come from any direction. An inheritance implies that the money can come from some forgotten source. Perhaps you have a relative you've forgotten about, or you have some old stocks or bonds that can be cashed in now for a profit. That just made me sad thinking about a relative you might have forgotten about. Like, poor relative. Unless they were an asshole, then I guess they had it coming. This is a good time to close any deal that you began earlier. Commissions or bonuses may also be in store. So it's just saying, like, right now, maybe with this new moon energy that we have right now, is a good time to do something financially, or close a deal, or maybe take your chances at the lottery. Don't do anything illegal, of course. Yeah, the cards warn against that for sure. Don't do anything illegal, but it's just a favorable time for your finances. Maybe you'll finally get that stimulus check that you've been waiting for that hasn't shown up, or the unemployment that still has not gone through. Just play your cards right and know that this is a very favorable time for things to happen. Yeah, so maybe take some chances that you're kind of have been unsure about. Okay. The next match is, I believe, the fish. In position 1 again. Excuse me. I always feel like, because all the images are some of them look similar. And I always feel like I'm like missing something. Hopefully not though. Okay. So the fish, let me just flip to the page here. So the period of influence is short to middle. So like, I guess really anywhere from now, or for a couple weeks from now, up to like 6 months from now. Stands for material and or spiritual fortune. We have talked about this card before in one of our other videos, but we have it in a different position this time, so let's see what that's about. The general meaning of fish, it has a dual meaning, remember. On the first level, it stands for plenty, abundance of food. On the second level, the fish symbolizes spiritual life. The picture can be interpreted either way or synergistically. As a picture of plenty, the fish symbolizes the material needs that people have. I feel like it's been kind of a common theme in this reading of material needs. What you'll see as we go along. On the second level, the fish symbolizes spiritual life. Just as an example, Christ used a few fish to feed thousands of people. After crucifixion, Christ appeared to the fishermen and told them to go forth and spread his word to the world. He divided one loaf of bread to feed all of them. He showed them that their physical needs would be met as long as they grew spiritually. The spiritual meaning of the picture is not confined to any particular religion. In fact, or rather, it refers to the universal God, just like, we talk about it in the beginning, whatever it is that you believe, the source, the divine, the creator, it's up to you. The picture tells you to listen to your inner spiritual feelings, which will guide you to your destination. The fish can also refer to a synergistic combination of the physical and the spiritual. For us to be truly happy, we must take care of both our physical and spiritual needs. The picture is a reminder to some that they should be taking care of their spiritual needs at this time. So I totally agree that it's like synergistic, and we need both of those things, and I think we have to take care of our spiritual selves first, before anything else. That goes back to figuring out who our authentic selves is, without a pack, without a group of friends, without family telling you what to do or think. It's so important to just look within yourself, and I say that every single week. And discover who you really are without all of that stuff. And that's how you get to your authentic self. And there's no need for labels of any kind, because you know who you truly are on the inside, and that's what you're projecting. So yeah, I definitely think that you have to take care, or your physical needs will be met if you are willing to grow spiritually. So if you nurture your spirituality, anything that you need physically will be met, will be provided. You always have to be open to receive. So in this position 1, fortune, especially on the sea. I always look at what cards are kind of like surrounding the other cards, and it's like we just had the ship, which can represent travel, usually by sea, and now we have the fish in position 1, which is saying fortune, especially on the sea. So I don't know, maybe we need to think about the ocean. I don't know. I could use a coastal drive. It's been a few weeks. I haven't made my way out there, and I should. I've been wanting to drive up the PCH and go to my favorite sushi place in Ventura, called Bonsai Marina. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I've spent a lot of time in Ventura, just over the years, just for various reasons, and I love their cute little downtown, and it's right by the ocean, and I wanted some really fresh sushi that felt like it was just right out of the ocean. And so I found this little place in downtown Ventura called Bonsai Marina, and it's awesome. And I'm gonna drive down the coast and get my ocean fix and get some sushi as soon as I'm finished with my cleanse. I'm doing a Purium Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, and it's been pretty cool. I'm nearing the end of it, and I'm ready for some sushi. So anyways, back to the cards though. So that just thinking about the sea and Fortunate Sea and seeing the ship and getting that card, it just got me thinking about how much I love the ocean and need it in my soul. So fortune, especially on the sea. On the first level, seek fortune on the seas. Anything to do with the seas, fishing, scuba diving, oceanography, cruise ships will lead you to success. You will either make money or meet someone who will complete your life. How about both? On the second level, the picture tells you to seek your fortune in spiritual matters. Material things will not bring you happiness at this time. Even other people will not fulfill the need that you have. See? Synergistically, because that's what it says just in the description of the picture, is that, you know, your physical needs will be met if you take care of your spiritual needs first. So it's literally saying material things will not bring you happiness at this time. Even other people will not fulfill that need that you have. This is the time to get in touch with yourself and do something that interests you or is unique to you. If you can contribute to make the world a better place, you will also make yourself happy at the same time. Write the book that you've always wanted to write. Compose songs. Become a big brother or big sister. Read to the blind, join a religious organization, or go to a foreign country and work with the poor. Each person has a unique talent or personality trait that can help humankind. Remember, we talked about that before, that everyone has a purpose here. Everyone, you know, and it's all about what this is saying, searching within ourselves, taking care of ourselves, doing things that complete us, to figure out what our purpose is and what we can offer to the world. And this can definitely be seen as a great time to do that, you know, especially if you're somebody who doesn't have a job right now because of the situation. And you may have been out of work for several months now. You know, maybe it's time to think about, is what you were doing, does that fulfill you? Does that complete you? Is that, you know, what you really want for yourself? Is it where you see yourself? Because you're capable of anything, honestly, if you put the effort into it. So, you know, maybe use this time and the self-reflection to think about just your life and all the things. You know, are you doing what you're doing because you felt pressure from your family or your friends? Are you doing it just to survive? Are you doing it because you're afraid to do what you really want to do for one reason or another? I think it's time to ask ourselves those questions, and, you know, maybe we discover that we don't like the path that we're on, and we have the ability to change it. So that lies solely within each individual one of us. So, you know, those are some of the chains of society that I was speaking of in the beginning, that hold us back, that lock us up, chain us to whatever our situation is, a job, a relationship, whatever, ideas and beliefs, are those aligned with our true authentic selves, or just what society tells us, to be aligned with? So that's something that you can definitely be thinking about during this time, if you have the space to do that and you're in a safe space to do that. When the picture appears in this position, whatever you have undertaken will flow easily. You have a chance at making a great contribution to the world. Fortune awaits you, not necessarily in the monetary sense, but in the self-satisfaction that you get from knowing that you have done your best. You have done your best, as best I can. Levasseur family motto. Du mieux que je peux, as best I can. And it really, even before we discovered that this was our family motto, it kind of was like something that resonated in all of us, that we're just doing the best we can, that we work hard and we do what we think is best for us, and it's just how most of us are. And so it's interesting that was our motto. So anyways, just knowing, just know that this is a great time to maybe change your life. Definitely change your life if that's what you feel, you need to do. There might be a lot of people out there who are totally content with what they're doing, and that's awesome. But if you're not, and you really are starting to question things, like, just know that this is a favorable time. We've seen that in other cards. It's a very favorable time for good fortune, for good things to come your way. So take that leap of faith, take that chance, and maybe take some online classes, get some training on whatever it is that you really want to do. Always things to learn. Educate yourself. Research. Do the work. Put the effort out there. Be open to receive, and you will. It's not instant gratification, but it will come. Just be open. All right. So the next match is, we're actually going to flip this card to create another match. Which is the house, actually. All right. I hope you saw that. Immediate to middle influence. So immediate could be like it just happened, or up to middle influence, like up to 6 months from now, or it could be something that lasts that long. So the house, like the clover picture, denotes good luck. The house or shelter is one of our primary concerns, secondary only to food and water. Having a well-constructed house enables one to pursue other business. The house picture refers to material well-being, the economic aspects of the house or family situation. The picture also can refer to job situation and business affairs, as they have a direct bearing on the security of the family. It's a good picture to receive for someone who is concerned with the material outcome of a situation. See, here's another card that's kind of talking about material gain or material outcome. So we have quite a few of those in this reading. And we were also talking about, or I was also talking about how, how I felt fortunate to have shelter, to have a home. There was a time in my life when I didn't have that. And I always, every day, I feel grateful and fortunate and blessed that I do have those things, and that I have a safe space to come to, you know, at the end of my day or whatever. It's a safe space now. So, there's a lot of people that don't have that. So if you do, you know, always never take that for granted. So we have it in position 3, which says, beware of the people surrounding you. This is another common theme in this reading. You know, we had the cat picture before, which was, you know, warning of us of somebody that was going to make a catty remark to you. And this is telling us to beware of the people surrounding us. Someone could be doing something that can cause you an economic setback. It could be someone who is fixing your house and overcharging you for the work. Or perhaps someone at work is blocking your plans or taking credit for your work. Have you ever had anyone do that at any point in your life? Take credit for something that you know that you did, and you feel like you didn't really have a voice to speak up for yourself. Or maybe you did and you weren't believed. That can be a tricky situation to be in. The picture can also refer to someone in your immediate household who is a danger to you. It can be someone who's usually a good person, yet due to alcohol, drugs, or even medicine, may become violent and cause you harm. You know, maybe I've talked a lot about, you know, being in this time of stillness and slowness, and, you know, there are a lot of people out there who aren't able to cope with it and handle it, and don't have the tools or the space to know how to deal with this situation. I mean, nobody really knows how to deal with it, but people might be turning more heavily towards, you know, altering their reality with drugs and alcohol, prescription medications, and there are a lot of people there who get aggressive under the influence of those things. And, you know, you might be in a situation where you are quarantined with somebody like this. So the card is just warning that it's not the time to provoke the person or try and resolve problems. So it's basically saying, like, doing that right now might cause you more harm, and you need to be aware of the people around you. So it's an immediate picture. It's saying it will pass very soon, or maybe it's just happened. Wait until it passes before trying to resolve it. It's basically saying bide your time and wait to deal with the problems until a more favorable time. When this picture comes up, it's also a good idea to make sure you lock the doors to your house and take precautions against break-ins or burglaries. This is not the time to invite strangers to your house or to be too trustful of neighbors. Follow the Russian proverb, depend on God, but don't be careless yourself. And I don't want this to invoke any fear in people. Know that this is something that's going to pass. And it's just telling you, just be cautious, be aware, always be aware of your surroundings. You know, just beware, be careful of the people around you or people that you know or that you've thought maybe in the past. You know, we all have gut feelings, if we listen to ourselves, about people. So if you have somebody in your life that, you know, when provoked can act in a negative manner, just be mindful of that. Be mindful of your surroundings. Don't be negligent, or, you know, don't be careless. Just, yeah, you know, you don't have to be afraid. Just be aware. Be aware. Open your eyes, and you'll be fine. It'll pass. It'll pass quickly. So the next image, let's see. The next image that we have, I go cross-eyed looking at these, is the apple, I believe. I keep feeling like there was one more, but I'm not seeing it. So, the apple. Another immediate influence. So immediate could have been something that just happened or within the next couple weeks. Or you're going through it right now. It's the symbol for an encounter. The apple refers to little things that make us happy or cause us irritation. This is not a major card in our life, yet it is important in determining our attitude towards daily occurrences. If we can learn to enjoy pleasant happenings and tolerate unpleasant ones, then we can lower our stress level and enjoy life more. Remember, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I think, to me, what that's saying is, like, just take care of yourself, and everything else will come, you know, everything else will fall into place, but take care of yourself, and physically and spiritually. So we have it in position 4, which says, an unpleasant occurrence in the near future. The unpleasant occurrence is of a minor type and should not be allowed to spoil your day. If you can apply reason rather than emotion to a situation, you can negate the unpleasantness. The Russian's kid. The farther you go into the forest, the more wood you will pile up. The proverb also applies to entering into disagreements. The more you argue, the more hurt piles up. At this time, don't add to the unpleasantness by being a bore yourself. Let the other person enjoy the role alone. I think this literally ties in with the last card, about being aware of your surroundings and maybe of the people that are around you, and there might be, you know, some unpleasantness. And I think this is just kind of like reiterating that and saying that it'll pass. Again, it'll pass. Just apply reason rather than emotion, because if you act, you know, out of emotion, you might say things that you don't mean, or you know, you might hurt somebody, or somebody else might hurt you. And that can be avoided if you just stop and think and reason and just let it pass. So I think that totally just ties in with that other card. All right. So then I think we're just into the final card. Let me just double check. Yeah, so, sorry. The last card, if you remember from the other times that we have done this, used this deck, is, so you pretty much read, it's a really important card. It totally sums up our entire reading, and you're supposed to read every image in the position that it's in, and also in position 1. So position 1 is supposed to be the outcome of the current situation. So if you do the things that you need to do, the work that you need to do, it should be the outcome. And you're supposed to keep it as you lay it out, like don't turn it or anything, unless you have a picture match, but we didn't. So I'm going to start with the one on the top, which is the horseshoe, or it's half of the horseshoe, which says, so the horseshoe is middle influence, so like 3 to 6 months from now. And the picture tells of great luck or success. The horseshoe implies luck or good fortune due to one's efforts. And that's another theme that's been running through this reading. We've had a lot of these representing just good fortune, favorable time to, make financial decisions, or possibly money coming your way. So that's just kind of riddled through this whole reading. So, maybe that's something to think about. Anyways, so horseshoe, we have it in position 2, which says, everything that you undertake in the near future will be successful. This can refer to important projects, and it can also refer to everyday happenings. Any projects you undertake at work will be successful. When you get this picture, it can be a good time to try out new ideas or methods of doing something that you have been considering, as you will meet with success at this time. This is also an opportune time to start a diet, an exercise program, or any self-improvement program you have been thinking about. It's always pleasant to get this picture, as it tells you that life will flow smoothly for a while, with everything turning out well. As mentioned earlier, it could simply mean that everyday activities will be successful. You will feel invincible, able to do and face anything. And I think that just ties in with everything that we've been talking about. And, this is supposed to be like 3 to 6 months from now. And as we're kind of gearing up to starting to reopen things, and maybe a lot of people are going back to work, this could be an opportune time to take some chances to undertake projects. Just know that they'll be successful. Start working on yourself, taking care of your physical self. This is a great time right now to do that, or to start that and start getting in those habits. I've been trying to build healthy habits as I've been mostly out of work. Just trying to put some healthy practices into my daily routine, or create a daily routine with healthy practices, so that, when I do get back to my career, that, I can hopefully keep those practices in place. That's the goal. So it's a good time to do that. Just know you'll be successful. It's a really favorable time to just work on yourself, to put yourself out there, and just take a chance. If you want to make a change, it's a great time to do that. So just reflect on that. You can reflect on that with meditation. Take a journey into yourself and discover who it is you truly are, and who you're meant to be. Not who you want to be, who you're meant to be. And maybe want to be who you were meant to be, instead of what society tells you that you should be. I think that's really important. So the next image is the bridge. The bridge, which is short to life, so it's a life card. It stands for deliberate change. The general meaning, this is one of the life pictures. The bridge symbolizes our ability to change our circumstances. We often refer to life as a road. A bridge is an example of our manipulation of our environment, the ability to change the road we are on. We don't have to sit and wait for nature to take its course. Instead, we can change the environment to suit our purpose. This picture emphasizes that we have some control over our lives, that our willpower is stronger than fate. And that's like what I've been talking about a lot, and not just in this reading, but in the past weeks as well, is that we have the ability to change the road that we're on. That's something that lies within us and only us. So if you don't like where you're at, if you've been wanting to make a change, you have the ability to do that. And you have to get out of the thinking, of the chains of thought that, I can't do this because, my parents might not like it, or my friends might not support me, or society tells me that, you know, this is looked down upon or whatever. Like, you have to think for yourself. It's so important, because you are your own unique person on your own journey in this life. And if you let other people think for you and control you, you will never find your true purpose or your authentic selves, and you'll, you know, be doomed to keep repeating until you finally learn the lessons that you're meant to learn to become the person that you were always meant to be. So that is what the bridge represents. We already have it in position 1, and I totally forgot to read position 1 of the horseshoe. So I'll go back and touch base on that after I talk about the bridge. So we have it in position 1 already. A radical change in lifestyle awaits you. The picture appears when you have finished one phase of your life and are embarking on a new one. Your previous life is finished. Some people do not react favorably to change and may resent the new obligations and responsibilities, yet new joys and rewards are also in store. And that's so true. And we are in a radical change in all of our lives. And I do think, you know, things are going to be forever different from now on. And we have to learn a new way of life. And maybe that's a good thing. And maybe it doesn't have to be what, you know, we think that is. You know, there's a lot of things, if we make changes, that we can make better. You know, nothing ever changes in this world just by, you know, just letting it happen. Like, you know, if you want change, you have to demand it. You have to make it happen. And we can have a better world. We can take better care of our planet and all of the people that inhabit it. It's so possible. So, you know, we have to know that it's time to move forward. We're in a new phase of our lives. All of us are, collectively. And we should embrace it and create the world that we want to live in and that we want to leave behind for future generations. So let me go back really quick and just talk about the horseshoe. So we had it in position 2, which was, we're talking about undertaking projects and making changes in your life and it being a favorable time. You know, all your undertakings will be successful. And it's just saying, like, you know, if you remember that and think about that, just know that good fortune or success awaits you. That's the future of this situation. You'll be successful, but only to the degree that you put the effort into it. Again, don't just sit back and do nothing and wait for good fortune to fall into your lap. You have to put the effort out there. Put the positive, manifest your desires, what you want, manifest it. Think about it every day. Keep it right here at the forefront of your mind and project it, and you will manifest it. So just remember that. That's the outcome. All right, moving on to the forest, which is middle influence, so like 3 to 6 months. It's a symbol for people around you. People around you. Big theme in this reading. And, you know, my question kind of had to do with the people around us and what, you know, society and putting ourselves in a box and constantly with labels, whatever, you know, we're either this or that, you know, and we need to break free of those chains. But anyway, and people around us can influence our minds. That's why it's so important to know who you are and search within yourself and do the self-work and the self-discovery. Anyways, back to the forest. It is middle, 3 to 6 months, middle influence, people around you. A forest is made up of many trees. It has weathered storms, fires, animals, parasites, and anything else that nature has thrust upon it. Yet the trees stand, giving protection to their neighbors, and in turn being protected by them. In the same way, we do not stand alone. We are surrounded by people. The picture, maybe not right now. The picture refers to people who have grown up with you or who have shared experiences for a growing nature. For the most part, these people are helping you, as indicated by the picture in the first two positions. However, there are times when you have to be aware of the people around you, which the picture indicates in the last two positions, which it's been a kind of a common theme that we need to be aware of the people around us. And I think this is just continuing with that theme, and especially that it's in our final card. I think it's like really important to pay attention to that, to just, be aware of the people that you surround yourself with. So yes, we have it in position 3, contact with suspicious people. When this picture appears, beware of people around you. They may want something that you have. In the forest, when a new tree begins to grow, it is in competition with its neighbors for light, water, and soil. Be aware of your rights and don't be too trusting at this time. The picture also may be warning you of dangerous people around you. Your instincts will tell you who to be aware of. The suspicious people are doing something illegal or dishonest, either consciously or unconsciously. Here we have to include people whose personalities change radically when using drugs or alcohol. So we've talked about that before in one of the other cards, how those things can affect people in a negative way. And maybe that's the person that you need to be aware of that's in your life. Just reach in on people. Sometimes people might be afraid to reach out or not know how to reach out. So if you're worried about somebody that you might know might be in a domestic situation, just reach in, check in on them, because you never know. You might help somebody. Where was I? If you are in a new situation, such as a job or sharing accommodations with new people, then be particularly careful. The new people may not be honest. Maybe don't be so quick to trust people, because there's somebody around you who can't be trusted. So just be aware of that. Again, just be aware of your surroundings. I think something that I also read was be aware of people around you. They may want something that you have. And then talking about like the trees competing for, light and water and soil. I was just thinking about how, I think this is a great time of like civil unrest, and a lot of people, so many people really, I don't have like a specific number, but it's a whole shit ton of people have lost their jobs. And that can really affect somebody negatively if they allow it to. And it can cause a lot of aggression and anger. And maybe that's the person that you need to be aware of, if that's your situation. So just be diligent, be cautious, be not so easily trusting of people, just knowing that, there's somebody around you that maybe has some issues that they are dealing with in unhealthy ways or not dealing with it at all. Okay, so the final card is the crayfish. I was just thinking of crawfish etouffee. It's my favorite Cajun Cajun Creole dish. I was fortunately right before all the craziness really broke out. I spent a day in New Orleans, which is one of my favorite food cities in the world. It's such a wonderful place. I was in the French Quarter, just hanging out, passing through. I love it there. It had been a long time since I'd been back. And I just had to get me some crawfish etouffee. And I went to, I believe it's called the Gumbo House. It's kind of near Bourbon Street. I guess it's kind of a touristy area, but I was told that it was one of the best. And it definitely delivered. It was so, so good. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm just thinking about it and getting so hungry. Yeah, but let's get back to what the crayfish card represents. So a period of influence, short to life, so another life card. And it's about learning to cope with fate. The crayfish is a small crustacean that lives under rocks in rivers and ponds. It's a scavenger, eating anything found in the waters. At the same time, it is prey to larger fish, and especially humans who find it delicious. The crayfish picture represents fate, being in the right place and doing the right thing. As the crayfish is sandwiched between being a predator and a victim, so we find ourselves caught up in situations where we want to do one thing, but fate doesn't open up the opportunity. The picture may have a short period of influence, but if it's in position 3, it explains happenings that affect your entire life. The crayfish deals more with your emotional reactions to what fate deals out to you. It shows ways of dealing with setbacks that you will encounter in life. So, I think that if fate doesn't open up the opportunity, that maybe it's not the right time for that opportunity. And you need to wait until a more favorable time. That's in my opinion. So we have it. I think I once again forgot to read the forest in position 1. Sorry. I'll go back. So the crayfish. Actually, let me go back to the forest right now. Before I get too into the crayfish. So it was saying, again, beware of the people that surround you. And then the outcome in position 1, continuous friendship with many worthwhile people. The card tells you that you have made friends with people who are of good character. They are a good influence in your life. Your shared interests will be a support and an inspiration to you. The people can include those you work with, live with, or have as friends. The picture quite often appears when you are in transition, that is changing from one stage in your life to another, which I think all of us are in transition. The world's in transition right now. The picture is a reminder that you have established strong bonds that will remain in spite of the changes that are going on in your life. The picture further tells you that your friends will be there should you need them. These are not frivolous friends who disappear when the goodies are gone. Rather, they are friends who nurture you as you nurture them back also. Remember, a relationship always goes both ways, and that's any type of relationship. So I think that's saying if you're aware of your surroundings, be aware of suspicious people. The outcome of the situation is that you'll be surrounded by good people with good intentions. Sorry about that. Let's go back to the crayfish. So anyways, we were talking about fate, how crayfish is learning to cope with fate, and about, talking about dealing with setbacks that you might encounter in your life. So we have it in position 1, which says, having made too bold a step, you'll back off. The picture usually comes up in this position when you have more than one way of dealing with a situation. For example, you need to travel to a destination. Should you drive or take the plane? You want to take the car because it'll give you more freedom. But if you take the plane, you will be more rested and will lose fewer working days. Your emotions take over and you decide to drive. You make all the arrangements, but at the last moment, reason takes over and you back down. When the picture comes up in this position, it usually indicates that you're not ready. You're not really ready to make the move, or that fate doesn't want you to make this move at this time. The picture can refer to major moves such as emigrating to a new country, or minor ones like deciding not to go on a date with a new friend. Whatever the step is that you have to back off from, you should not feel guilty, as this is simply not the right time for your action. I think that's just an example, and I just wanted to share it because, it can seem at first like it's telling you, oh, if you're trying to decide between driving and flying, then you should fly because fate doesn't want you to drive. Well, that's not the case. It's just an example. It might be the case for some people. I almost took this literally recently because I was planning to go on a road trip that I had been wanting to do for a while. And I was asking, I was like, oh, should I do it? Is this the right time to do it? Or should I just fly, and maybe have some more days, with my family and friends. And I was driving to Nashville from LA for an event, and I was going to drive there and back, or I shouldn't say was, I did. So yeah, I got this card and I was like, oh, is that like telling me that I shouldn't drive? But I realized, this is just an example. And maybe for me, it was the opposite. I think, flying would have been just like putting it off another year, not really going on this journey of self-discovery. And I really feel like I ended up doing it and deciding to do it, and it really ended up being like a pilgrimage for me. It was amazing. I did a bunch of Route 66 all the way to Arkansas. I got to pick up my niece and nephew there and spend some time with them and take them with me to Nashville. Got to see my family and friends, and then on the way back, I took the 10. Came back through New Orleans, Texas, and I went to some cool places. San Antonio is really cool. I never knew. So shout out to San Antonio, Texas, where the Alamo is. Really freaking cool area. And El Paso, where I had the most amazing duck al pastor tacos. I can't think of the name of the restaurant, but I will tag it once I go back and watch this, and have had a minute to look up the name of the restaurant, but it was oh my gosh, so amazing. So anyways, this is just saying, like, just think, again, search within yourself and think logically about what the best thing for you to do is. Not what anyone else might be telling you to do or want you to do, but what you feel in your gut is best for you. And if things don't work out the way that you planned, then just know that it's like fate is telling you that it's not the right time. It's not the right time for that. Don't be discouraged. Just move on, move forward with your life, and know that when it is the right time for whatever it is, it will be presented to you. Just always be open to receive. Always be listening. Have your eyes open. So that was already in position 1. So that pretty much sums up our reading for today. Sorry, my incense was falling over. So I guess what I got from this reading basically is just to take care of yourself, physical and spiritual. Don't be so trusting of those around you. Search within, break down the walls of social norm. You don't have to try to be normal, whatever that is. You only have to remember to be yourself. and you will attract other authentic people. So I think that's kind of the answer to what we need to do to break free of the chains of society, to get back to our most authentic selves. And when we become that, we attract others who are either in the process of doing that or have done that. And I think in general, you'll have a better quality of life. We all need to do it. Most won't, but I think you'll find on the journey of self-discovery, it's not always easy. You might be faced with a lot of things that you don't want to see, but you have to face them in order to move forward from them. So that's the reading for this week. I have to take 1 minute at the end of this just to talk about something that has been going on in our society, just speaking about society, something that's been going on for a long time, something that's often swept under the rug. And I feel like we've seen so much of this lately. And this also goes back to not being trustful of people around you and being aware of who's around you, but just the racism and the hate that has been going on in this country for so long now. And it's an ongoing thing. It's not better, it's I don't think it's ever really gotten better, which is crazy to me. It's just, I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can hate somebody because their skin is a different color than yours, because they have a different pigmentation, because they have a higher amount of melanin. This is learned behavior. I don't think that you're born hating anybody. You're taught that, and you really have to question, why, like I said before, the Nako lyric, don't waste your hate. Why do you hate somebody for these reasons? Really, what is it? Do you truly hate them? Was there something that happened in one of your ancestors' past that caused them to hate this person or this race, and it's just been bred into, all of the future generations? What is all this hate about? I saw a post on Facebook yesterday that was talking about how, those of us who, whether we like it or not, have white privilege, we need to stand up and use our voices, because unfortunately our Black and brown brothers and sisters are often not seen or heard or listened to, for whatever reasons in society that has become the norm. And that really spoke to me, and we do need to stand up and use our voice and let the world know that this is not okay. Why? I just want to talk about George Floyd for a minute. This is heartbreaking. This is somebody's son, maybe somebody's father, I'm not sure, brother, husband, boyfriend, whatever, whose life was taken from him for being Black. And that's not okay. It's just not okay. I don't get it. It really, it hurts my heart, and it tears a hole in my soul. Did this man deserve this? He was allegedly writing a bad check, so the cops were called, but he wasn't actually writing a bad check. And he was pinned down with an officer's knee in the neck while he begged for water and air. And while another police officer stood by and watched, and he died. This officer with the knee on his neck suffocated him, basically. And he died, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting that people can get away from this behavior. You know, what about in Georgia, where a man was shot for being out jogging while being black? Like, and it literally went for months without anything happening to the people who did it. This is not okay. Like, why are people getting away with this? This makes me so hurt and angry. And, you know, those of us who have a voice or have a platform to share our voice, like, we need to say something, and we need to stand up for our brothers and sisters of all skin colors. This is not okay, and something has to change. Something huge has to change in this world. These kind of things should not be happening. That person, George Floyd, and all of the others who have been killed just like him, had the right to a fair trial, innocent until proven guilty. Isn't that how things are supposed to work in this country? But they don't work that way at all. And it's not fair. We all should be equal. We are all human beings of the human race who live on the planet Earth, and not one of us is better or less than the other. We need to take care of each other, and we need to stand up for our friends, for our brothers, for our sisters, and do the right thing, because this has to stop. It has to stop. Do something. Spread the word. Talk about him. Say his name. Share the stories on your social media. Like, talk about how angry this makes you. Don't hold it in. We need to talk about this. We need to get it out there. We need to stop sweeping it under the rug. We're seeing it every single day, and our black and brown brothers and sisters are living it every day. And those of us with white privilege have no idea of understanding what that's possibly like. So we need to stand up and say something and speak out. Please do that. You know, use your social platforms as a positive thing. Okay? Thank you. And thank you so much for tuning in to Volume 10 of Church with Jess. That's a lot of weeks. 10 weeks with me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again next week. We'll be doing the Crystal Allies deck again, so tune in for that. See you next time. Namaste.